Oh, man. Crazy, man. Diamond Day Bartoo. Handicapping some college football for us. I think we've done Oklahoma, Texas, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss. So now we're going to do Mississippi State. You may need to pour a glass of bourbon for this next 15 minutes or so. We welcome in Diamond Day Bartoo on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. This is ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by the super cool sportsbook at the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and Lounge, Pearl River Resort. All right, Diamond Dave, you ready?
Dude, I am totally ready, man. I just coming in off the river from fly fishing this morning down here in Southern Oregon, and it's just another beautiful day of chilling out in August before things really rev up in September.
Dude, this guy has already called his lunch, could have dinner, and probably already fine-tuned his bow for elk hunting in 3 weeks, and now he's about to drop some knowledge. We may get two teams in, but we're definitely going to go Mississippi State, and then who knows? We may go Auburn or something like that, maybe LSU. All right, Bartoo, let's start. I don't know, 3 games at a time. Mississippi State opens with Eastern Kentucky at home. They go to Tempe, Arizona to play Arizona State, and then they host Toledo. Now, this is a rebuild for Jeff Lebby, so you have the floor. How do you see it?
It is a rebuild because what are we now up to? 3 years down? What's the roller coaster? We're 3 or 4 years since Dan.
Dan's last year was 17, and then Moorhead took over in 18. So we're 6 years removed from Dan
with years down?
With your fourth coach, which is not a recipe for success.
No, well, so it's been 6 years, so it's just a roller coaster. So I mean, and then trying to rebuild with this kind of offense, I think it's going to be, it's going to be an extra year or two just trying to figure it out because traditionally Mississippi State is a defensive football program. You look at the program over the last 10 years, they have the 5th most defensive starts in the NFL over the last 10 years. This is a defensive school. It's not an offensive school. You don't put anybody in the offense really from the NFL. I know everybody's screaming Dak. Okay, you got one guy. But outside of that, when you look at the numbers, offense is Ole Miss, defense is State. I bet you got some monster guys on your defense this year. That's what the school produces. So, but yeah, this is what are you feeling on this? You feeling like a 3-0 start, or you feeling more 2-1? Because you got to get the W right out of the gate against Eastern Kentucky, right? I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about the whole season with that. Then you go on the road to Mississippi State or
Arizona State. Yeah, that worries me.
Arizona. Why?
Because of the rebuild, Lebby.
I know, but it's. I mean, if that game worries you, we should stop talking about the rest of the schedule, dude. because Arizona State has no staffing, right? I mean, you have a better staff than Arizona State. You have far better players than Arizona State. They're on year 2. You're on year 1. I mean, the only thing they really got going for them, it's early and it's at Arizona State. I still believe you guys should win that football game.
Okay.
You have a better staff. You have better talent.
2-0.
And I always stick. Yeah, I got 2 out of 3, right? I got better staff. I got better talent. I'm taking Mississippi State starting 2-0, and then you get home against Toledo. Now, this is a good trap game because, look, Toledo doesn't recruit at the SEC level. You and I both know that, right? But this is one of the best coach staffs in all of college football. Candle is a good offensive coordinator. And look at week 4. Toledo is a great trap game for your guys to not pay attention and look forward to Florida coming into Starkville the following week. So don't get caught up one game at a time. Should be 3-0. Really should be 3-0 because you got a big talent edge across the board in all 3 games. So I think actually the toughest game, I'd be more afraid of Toledo at home being overlooked than going on the road at Arizona State.
Oh, all right. So 3-0, they have to be 3-0 to even try to get to 5. Florida at home. So I know Florida has more talent, but we don't really know what they are either. And it's been a struggle down there in Gainesville post Urban Meyer for everybody other than Dan was phenomenal for 2 years. So, you know, when you say on this game, when you say, hey, Florida has an edge, it's in Starkville. How much of an edge do they have, Bartoo?
Talent-wise, not a huge one. Coaching-wise, I think it depends on who's calling plays because, you know, Armstrong has been a DC for 3 years now at Southern Miss and at Florida. In 2 of the 3 years, he has a bottom 10 defense of 133 teams in college football. So if he's calling the plays, then who knows? Because his defenses just simply don't perform. That being said, you're getting Florida early. If they're going to fall apart, and if the wheels come off, it's going to be late. That's just that's a tough game. I'm just like I'm doing with Toledo and Arizona State. I'm just sticking with the talent in this one.
Sure.
I know a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of State fans be like, "Oh no, we got it. We're going to get that game. Florida ain't no good." Look, Florida may not be what Florida used to be, but they're still really, really talented, and this is year one of the rebuild. You know, for all games, not just this game, you know, what I see is I think you are going to get massive scoring on both sides of the football.
Okay.
I think that's one of the things before, you know, kind of a little sidebar on this while I was thinking about it before you called is I think Mississippi State football games this year as a whole, the totals are going to be huge because Lebby is top 3 in the last 15 years. All offensive coordinators, FBS, FCS, top 3 in pace of play. So you are going to be, you're going to be snapping the ball as faster than anything you've seen in the SEC. It's going to go. But that's going to force probably 85 to 95 plays on your DC, who's never called plays before. So, you know, if you, as you always said, if we're going to lose, at least lose entertaining.
Right.
So I think you're going to get a lot of high-scoring football games. But I think what you're saying is you feel that Florida is more 50-50 because of the Florida situation than maybe in past years. So, you know, if you want to go 3.5 and a half, that's cool. I'll go 3-1 through the first 4 games.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think it's at least 55-45. 55% chance they win. You know, maybe a little bit, maybe closer to 60. It may be 60-40, but I don't know. Something crazy could happen. Maybe they have a chance to win late. All right, the next game, that's a loss. They have to go to Austin, Texas to play Texas, Bartoo.
Dude, the next 3 is horrible, dude. The next 3 physically and mentally is just, are you kidding me? At Texas, at Georgia, A&M, right? So you got top 10 recruiter, number 1 recruiter, top 15 recruiter, right? And you know, this is, even if you don't win all of those games, even if you just get 1 out of 2 would be phenomenal. I don't think you're going to win any of them. But now you have the physicality part of it. Your guys are going to be just beat to hell. I mean, just that is just so much big boy football in a row. You know, the game after those 3 now comes into question because physically and mentally, you know, where is the team at? So, yeah, you go to Texas. I think you and I would agree that's a loss. Mm-hmm. You go to Georgia, that's a loss. You host A&M, that's a loss, right? So now if we started 3-0, and are we on a 4-game losing streak, or are we 4-3? That Florida game, when you start looking back at it, that's a pretty big football game in the scope of this schedule, especially with those 3 teams in a row. Mm-hmm. You know, you do get A&M. With new coaching staff, you get Elko. So it's a new coaching staff versus a new coaching staff. But I just think the talent profile at A&M is just too much to be betting on Mississippi State in that football game, even in Starkville.
Okay. So you've got them on a 4-game losing streak, 3-4. They host Arkansas. Mm-hmm. You feel like they can win that game?
Yes, I do. I do. I'll take State to win that game, but again, here's the difficulty of the schedule in that if Arkansas, if this was a week 2, a week 3, a week 4 game, if they were playing Arkansas before Texas, Georgia, A&M, you know, I think the health of Mississippi State is big in this football game. Now I want to look at Arkansas real quick. Let me see what Arkansas has coming into. Okay, so Arkansas. There's a little quid pro quo here, boss. Little quid pro quo. So we're laughing about Mississippi State having Texas and Georgia and A&M before hosting Arkansas. But before Arkansas goes to Mississippi State, they get LSU, Tennessee, A&M, and Auburn. So everybody's body and brains are going to be messed up for that game. So I feel good about we'll go with Mississippi State getting the win at home against Arkansas, because both teams that might be your lowest scoring game of the season. I don't know who is going to be up for that after the previous month for both of these squads.
I'll make sure to pack more bourbon. Dave Bartoo on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. He's handicapping the Mississippi State schedule. UMass in Starkville, W. Then they go to Knoxville, Bartoo.
Yeah, they go to Knoxville, and that's going to be another loss right there. Top 10 or top 15 recruiter, top 15 coaching staff on the road. Tennessee has the 3 boxes checked, so I think that's as easy one to call as Texas and Georgia as well.
Okay.
So what are we sitting at? We're sitting at 3-0, 3 wins, 4 wins, 5. So maybe 5. Yeah, 5.5. Again, that Florida one. So we're sitting at 5.5. And that Florida that Florida game may or may not be bowl eligibility, right? Because look, I know Missouri is ranked really high everywhere, okay, and I get it. You know, they upgraded their defensive staff. They kept coaching continuity on the offensive side. They got a ton of guys back. They were gifted a schedule. You know, I mean, it was a great schedule for Missouri. But it's at Starkville. So I think this is your other coin flip game right here. And I know a lot of people think I'm crazy, but you know, I like what Drink has done. But from a talent perspective, Missouri is Mississippi State, right? They just have more continuity with roster. They got more continuity with coaching, but it's on the road. You know, now the nice thing for Missouri is they don't have anything around this game that screams trap game, right? Because right before Mississippi State, Missouri's at South Carolina. And then right after Mississippi State, Missouri hosts Arkansas. And so Missouri has a great final 3 games. So I don't think they're going to lose their focus, and I don't think they're going to be too beat up for that football game. So the timing on that one is a bit rough. I personally just think it's more of a coin flip than people are giving credit for that game today. But again, end of November, long ways to go. Health and a lot of things go into what's going to play out in that game November 23rd.
Okay, so Missouri, they pull A&M, Auburn, and Bama and Oklahoma. I mean, those are their toughest games. And then Bartoo mentioned their 3-game stretch of South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas, who are 3 of the, I mean, outside of Vanderbilt, 3 of the lowest ranked teams in the conference. Just kind of depends on pick your poison.
Yeah.
And people believe that Arkansas and South Carolina, along with Vanderbilt, could lose their coaches at the end of the year. So I think that's where Bartoo's going. But I don't know if Missouri's going to have that much success against A&M, Auburn, Alabama, and Oklahoma. I don't know. I think they're good, but I don't think they're that good, Bartoo.
No, but again, the schedule sets. You know, you get
4-0.
You're rolling out 4-0, right? I mean, Buffalo, Murray State, Boston College, Vanderbilt, right? Cupcake. It's all over, right? I wonder what the fine's going to be this year for losing to Vanderbilt in the SEC. That'll be interesting. You know, and then game 3, you're on the road at A&M, but again, all new coaching staff. Bam, that's a great opportunity. And then you then you play UMass. You know, so you should be 6-0. And it's not because they're really good. It's just that their recruited talent far outweighs the schedule. And then you got a little bit of meat, right? You host Auburn and you host Oklahoma. So again, you have location advantages. The only really game that they got stung with is at Alabama. And then you finish up with on the road at South Carolina. You got better talent than South Carolina. You're on the road at Mississippi State. You got even better talent than Mississippi State, and then you host Arkansas. And Arkansas may not, win a whole lot of games either. So, yeah, it's set up for Missouri. I mean, you got to be looking top 3 schedules in the SEC. So. We got off a little bit off the rails there, so we just previewed Missouri.
All right, let's go to LSU.
Real quick.
Mississippi State.
Well, let's finish Mississippi State. We still have Egg Bowl, right? It's at Ole Miss, so we're taking Ole Miss there. So, we got 4 wins, non-conference, right? They should win all 4 non-conference games, and your coin flips are going to be Florida, Arkansas, Missouri, and all of those are at home. All of those are at home. So, if you go 2-1, there's bowl eligibility, which would be awesome. It would be awesome. But I think the whole season is going to boil down to not blowing it in non-conference games, which you can totally do, and those 3 coin flip games at home. That's the season right there for me.
Dave Bartoo, the Matrix Man. Diamond Dave on the Out of Bounds show, brought to you by Pearl River Resort and the Golden Moon Casino Sports Book and Lounge. Do you want to rip through LSU real quick, or do you want to call it here?
We can. Let me try to find. Let me get LSU's schedule here.
I've got it.
Pull that up real quick. I got it right here. Here we go. What are we gonna do, Coach Kelly, about that offensive coordinator that ain't called plays too well in his career? So LSU is just kind of a quandary to me, just because you had all the defensive turnover. Now, their defensive staff, by our grading system, they upgraded the defensive staff by just over 24% in terms of career grades. That's the second biggest jump in all of FBS football.
Pretty strong.
So they really flipped the defensive side. But offensively, they went X-man up, which we'll see if Sloan can do it. You and I both know LSU is uber talented. Second most NFL starts from a college program over the last 10 years. So LSU just drips with NFL talent. Right out of the gate, though, USC. Now that's got to be. Is that a neutral game?
Yes, Las Vegas.
Or is it in Baton Rouge? Oh, it's in Vegas. All right. So you got 2 totally retooled defenses here, USC and LSU. But I think you got to go with the talent. LSU is a top 5 high school recruiter. USC is not even a top 25 high school recruiter. USC lost their way in terms of that. So, and they got a guy, defensive coordinator. Yeah, he's calling his 13th game ever. So I like LSU in that neutral field game. I think the staffing is better. I think the players are better early in that one. Then you go Nichols. Right, 2-0, and then at South Carolina, 3-0. And then punching bag. Let's just go with the first 4. This is a 4-0 schedule. This is a really good schedule because UCLA isn't going to win 2 or 3 games, right? UCLA is going to be the Colorado of the Big Ten. They'll win 1 or 2, 3 games. They'll all be non-conference games, but UCLA is going to get absolutely boat raced this year. So I like LSU coming out of the gate. 4-0, actually 5-0. Look at that. South Alabama game 5. Right? So, I mean, this is a wonderful schedule for LSU to stay healthy, to start 5-0, and really get this thing revved up before they get into the meat of the schedule.
All right, Bartoo talking LSU Tigers, handicapping their schedule, and then they host Ole Miss after a week off in Baton Rouge, Bartoo.
Talent, home field. I mean, Ole Miss has a better staff, top 10 in the country in our book. But I'm taking the home field with better talent. I'm going LSU at 6-0 through 6 games, and then they go on the road to Arkansas. And that's not a trap game, right? So you and I are both taking LSU over Arkansas. What are we at, 7-0?
Yeah.
then October 28th. I don't think is there or 26th. I need glasses, man.
They play Texas
October
A&M in
26th.
College Station.
Right, in College Station. Now, here's your trap game. Right, this is your trap game. I'm taking A&M in this one, but I see this really as more of a coin flip game. I mean, part of it, I just don't believe LSU can run the table, but they certainly have the talent to do it. But I don't believe they have the full coaching to do it. And the reason this is a trap game is because the very next week, who they hosting?
They take
Bama.
a week off and then they host Bama.
Right, but I just think the mentality of it is if there was a trap game, that would be it, right? Because there's no other trap games on the rest of their schedule. And honestly, I'm trying to find losses here because it just can't be that smooth in an SEC schedule. So, but I don't see, outside of Ole Miss, no reason not to go into that undefeated against A&M. Then they host Alabama. And again, that one's at home. I mean, whoever made the schedule for LSU, I mean, they tipped somebody good for that one. Right. And so this is without Saban at LSU. God, I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, the numbers say LSU should win that football game as well. And the same thing next week. Right. I mean, it's just every time every game I'm looking forward on this schedule, it's like gift. You get Ole Miss at home. Then your next game is not tough. It's at Arkansas. Then you get A&M with a new coaching staff. Then you get a week off. Then you get Bama at home, and Bama has a new coaching staff, so that should be a win. And then you're going on the road the next week to Florida. And who knows what Florida is going to be by November, right?
Right.
You know.
Will Napier still be there? Who knows?
Yeah, we do know physically they're going to be just hammered meat at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to really like LSU in that one, and then better than a bye, Vanderbilt comes into town, and then you finish up with Oklahoma at home. Gosh, man, I hadn't looked at LSU's schedule in depth until just now, and it's like, son of a bitch, man, it's just lined up. It's absolutely lined up. Should be a 10-2 playoff team. Really is what it should be. And if it's not, then this is a window of opportunity missed. You don't get scheduled. And when y'all go into 9 games, 26?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the Missouri, Ole Miss, LSU, they've been gifted schedules.
Yeah.
Right? You start going through these things, and some teams have good ones, some teams have bad ones. And for a top 5, top 10 recruiter like LSU to be gifted this kind of schedule, to go 9-3 and finish in the top 25 and miss a 12-team playoff, that's tough. That's tough. And so we'll see if they can handle it. But man, this schedule just sets them up for going 10-2. And I know we've talked about it. You want to be 10-2. If you're going to be 10-2, you do not want the SEC title game.
Right.
You do not want the SEC title game. You want 10-2 and no risk. If you're 10-2 going to the title game as the underdog,
you got to win.
The 10-3 teams are outside the top 12 more than 10-2 teams. You don't want that 13th game, folks.
That is Diamond Dave Bartoo on Hail State and LSU handicapping 2 more teams. The guy has already been fly fishing and tuned his bow today. And then he just dropped some college football knowledge on us. Bartoo, thanks, buddy. See you, dude.
See you, brother.
Brought to you by Wilderness Trail Bourbon, the Weeded and the Rye. And the Rye scored 97 points. And it's amazing with a steak or a cigar from Spring Street Cigars in Starkville.